Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are Team White, and today we're going to talk about the support sales renewal process. As you can see, this is the Team White members are listed right here. Now, what I'm going to talk about right now is the support sales renewal process overview. Okay, internal order processing involves three main teams. Okay, they connect to the internal web portal for submitting the support orders. As you can see right here, support sales team, contract and mid team, ordering processing team are the three main teams. Now, the support sales team submits an order request into a web portal by attaching the quote in the PDF format. Now, the contract and mid team retrieves the order from the web portal to add a billing form to the order. Ordering processing team processes the order request for information supplied in the web portal. After all the ordering process is done, the order is invoiced. And the contract team creates support contract, entitlement, and submits the legal if necessary. Now, what I'm going to go over is the support sales renewal as is. Alright? Here we have the context diagram. The context diagram as is, we have the main system right in the middle, which is the support renewal ordering process. We have the external entities, which are the customer, accounting, and legal. It starts off first by the system. If the customer is due for a contract renewal, it sends a notification to the customer. Okay? Then after that, they send them a quote with that information, and then the customer sends back the PO. After that, the invoice is created and is run by accounting. Then we request the contract terms to legal, and then the contract is sent back to customer, and also the invoice. And if the customer is missing information in the customer information form, which is the CIF, we request that information from the customer. Now moving forward, we have the data flow diagram level 0. This is a more detailed diagram. As you can see, our whole entire system is broken down into processes right here. We have process 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we have subsystems, which are the web portal, the CRM system, support CRM, and also order enterprise system. We first go through the processing of the quote, then we go to the create billing form, then we go to the process order, then create contract. And finally, we invoice the document.
Thank you. And now, let me take you back in the days to show you how we used to do it. as you have seen in the video, we had a lot of issues. So the way we are processing the code. So first, the customer had to send the code via email. Then the business team had to use Microsoft Office to process the order. Then we have the file that was created from Microsoft Office was sometime delayed. And after that, the next step, the fill, the billing, shipping, commission, and some exception put another bottleneck on the process as well. And then there's delay from support renewal. Sometimes that can take hours or days, and that's another downtime on the process. Then to fax the purchase order, sometimes the customer cannot even read it, and all these make the process more difficult. And the contract admin team have to constantly check in the web portal and the booking system to check for new order. So loss of productivity, and the process is not efficient in that sense. So as it used to be, we used to spend about 18 hours to process the order, and then with a cost of about $95 just for one order. So there's a problem. It's not efficient, and we know time is money. We have to find a way to cut time and make it more efficient. So we already know what's wrong with it. What we're gonna do about it? Let's check. So right here we have our actual and target. First, let's go one by one. So to cut the median number of days to process support renewal order, it used to be 5. Our goal is to cut it to 3. So that means a 40% reduction. Our second objective is to reduce average length of order processing days. It used to be 3, we want to cut it by 1.5. So 93% reduction. So the next objective that we have is to reduce time spent checking system for support order. So we're going to try to cut that one too. And the next thing on our list, we have we want to shorten the average time spent checking system for missing customer information. And we also want to shrink number of incomplete order. It used to be 8 days. Now we want to, our target is 3. And the customer service side target, we want to reduce or eliminate, if possible, coverage gap in customer service support contract. We want to eliminate coverage gap in customer support contract. By the actual is 15%. We're trying to remove that completely. And we also want to decrease the median lead time to invoice order. It used to take 3 days to do that. We want to reduce that to 1 day. And our next objective is to remove all those paper documents that was used for other submission and processing by use everything, put everything digitally. So it used to take one day, and that's something, if it's done automatically, it can be reduced to a few seconds. And the next thing we have on our list is to minimize the total number of electronic forms required to process order. So it used to be four forms. We're trying to cut that to 2 forms, a reduction of 50%. And the last objective that we have is to reduce the fact-finding email for missing customer information. So what right now is at 80%. We're gonna try to our target is 20%. So we're gonna try to reduce it at 75% overall.
So, how do we improve our data flow diagram for how to be process on the quotes? Well, first we started thinking of why would a customer, or why is a customer not getting any notifications back when they send a quote? We added a quote notification to let the customer know if there was any problems or any issues with any specific quotes. This was done with the customer quotation system, which pulled the information from the support CRM. That information was collected, edited, and sent back, and then the customer gets that information right back to it. Also, what we added to as well is the submit quote and update customer info on the fly. So any changes, any edits in customer information, stuff like that, we made sure that that was updated and submitted as well into the web portal. And also the customer's PO information and customer information is updated as well. Our create contract for our to be process actually stemmed from what we had, which was the billing form. We eliminated the billing form in our as is process and decided all we need is a create contract process, which makes more sense for our system. So what we did was we set up legal to submit the contract information from, get the contract information from the customer. Legal submits or requests the contract terms from the setup support contract. That gets submitted to the support CRM, and this system allows accounting also to track and get the legal points set up as well for the contract. The way we had this set up makes much more sense for the way we wanted our to be process to be much more effective than as is. Thank you.
Alright, so after looking at the process, the white team engineers decided to use IBM HoloFox in order to gather some data and model the process. As you can see here, we have the process quote to be. It starts with a customer that does a decision whether they want to purchase support or not. If the customer refuses our support, then the process stops. However, if they proceed and want support, which as you can see here is 55% of the time, then we go ahead and contact them. If we contact them, we retrieve the expired contract that they have. As you can see, it takes 6 minutes, but in reality, it only takes 4 minutes to work. Then we contact the customer via phone, and we try to upsell. Usually they have a standard package, but if they want more features that the sales support rep thinks is a benefit for the customer, we try to upsell at that point. Once we finish the upselling, we jot down all the notes, and then we create a quote in the web portal. If they don't want to contact support, then customer sales goes ahead and does it for them to the phone. The process continues whether the customer, let's say they're one of our best customers, they have some sort of pricing obsession that we don't give usually to the regular customers. If they do, that has to be approved by our manager. And if it is approved, then it goes ahead and is sent to the web portal. If it's not approved, then we have to contact the customer, try to upsell them on a different package, and then create the quote. If the customer does not have a pricing obsession, then we just go ahead and go into the portal and create the quote for them. They then receive an email notification via email to the customer, which gives them a PIN and a username that they can log into the portal and update any missing information that they have. If they have any missing information, then they could go ahead right there and then log in and update it through the online form. If not, the process stops. Now this is the process order to be. As you can see here, the customer fills out the online form, which then creates the PO and sends it to us via email, fax, or web portal. Email, as we can see here, is 30% of the time, fax 40%, and web portal 30%. If they send it via email, they just email us the PO, and we receive it. If they try to fax it, we have to convert this PO into an electronic document, and then we email it to ourselves. Otherwise, they could just log into the web portal and fill out the information online. All this information is stored in the web portal. If the order is complete, then we go ahead and process the order, enter the order into the booking system, and then the order is created. If the order is not complete, then we just stop.
Okay, so now what I'm going to present to you is a to-be redesign objective. In order to do that, we focus on these principles, but we broke it out through the processes. So for instance, on the process quote to be, we focus on the following principles. The customize, the mass customize, which is basically, we try to just enable one single source for the external, for the customer, and then for the employees. For the customer, we enable this external interface that communicates with an internal interface in order to submit their purchase orders, and for the sales representative also to submit the quote when the customer requests it. With that, we synchronize the efforts of accessing and adding the documents. So for that, we kind of moved into the next principle, which is synchronize physical and virtual work. For that, by having a single web portal repository, the teams, the order services team, the sales representative team, and the contract admin team was able to kind of just leverage this single portal, which also is accessed by the customer. So there is no duplication of efforts in getting information through emails and posted into the order submission portal. It's just everything is synchronized and accessible through all the teams, and at the same time provides information to the customer when they need it by just logging in through this external interface. What was the purpose of getting all this through a single web portal? The intention was to eliminate as many as papered document forms were needed. So for that, we moved into this next principle, which is digitize and capture data digitally. And just with that, we were able to kind of all the forms. For instance, what we did is when the customer needed to fax a purchase order, we kind of converted a purchase order into electronic form and send it automatically to the sales rep, and the sales rep was able to post it into the portal, or the customer can actually by themselves just go and post it in the portal as well. By having this principle in the process quote to be, we also had the customer to access their quote. So before in the as-is process, the customer had to actually receive the quote from the sales rep through emails. Then if changes were needed, then the customer would have had to give a call to the rep and say negotiate pricing, and then the sales rep will recreate another paper quote and then send it back to the customer. There was kind of a delay in the activities because it was everything done through the email communication or phone communication, and send it back and forth the quote as an attachment. By having this digitized principle as part of the quote to be process, the customer don't have to actually wait for an email as an attachment to receive the quote, but basically just connect to the portal and access the quote. So it definitely reduces the the time for sending the email, and then also it reduces the versioning of the quotes, first quote, second quote, after negotiation or an agreement was in a pricing. Then the next principle that it goes to be was to track and control the physical flow and the information flow through the system. So with that, we again we enable to have all the information associated into the web portal, which it was utilized during the the bookings, during the entering of the process in the booking system, and during the entering of the process into the support CRM, which is where the entitlements get set up. Let's move on to the next process we focus, which was the process order to be. For that, we tackle 4 principles, I believe. Okay, with this one, again, we replace the PO submission from being paper form to electronic form, whether if the customer can submit it directly to the web portal, or if they want to send it to the customer, whether through fax or email, it still gets digitized and submitted automatically through the web portal. As I said, just having the web portal facilitates a common platform for all teams, internals, and also facilitates visibility to the customer externally, so they know what's going on with their order, what if a quote was submitted or updated, and if it's already to be processed. Then this facilitates for other processes that can happen, where the customer can actually see by logging into this external interface where the order stands. Let me move on to the next one. The create contract to be. So what was happening is, for this process, we kind of eliminated the waiting time that the contract admin team has to go through in order to create entitlements in the support CRM. So in the as-is process, the contract admin team has to constantly check this booking system in order to see if orders are coming in and are ready to be set up under the support entitlement. So instead of the contract admin have to stop their activities of creating support contract, they would have to go, they would just have to wait and receive notifications. So we eliminated the step of the contract admin team checking the web portal, but just the web portal, but just enabling the booking system to automatically send notifications to the contract admin team and tell them the orders have been processed, orders are invoiced, please go ahead and create a contract, the contract entitlement for the customer. So through that, we kind of create a parallel process as the order is getting processed and it gets submitted into the actual booking system. The contract admin team in parallel can continue and doing their activities at the same time of receiving new requests for new contracts to be set up. The next one that we focused on was the support sales contract to be. In this one, once again, we eliminated the use of billing form. The billing form is one of the forms that was kind of an additional duplication of work, because the contract admin team, what it does in this as is, they kind of gather the information from the quote form, and they gather the information from the purchase order, and they kind of compile a new form called the billing form. This billing form in reality doesn't add any value to the process, because this information is already existing in these other forms. But what it helped in some way is kind of provide visibility to the contract admin team and in the time when they needed to set up the contract. So it's kind of, it gave them like information ahead of time before they were able to actually create a contract in the support CRM. But in reality, if we would have a single repository where the customer can actually verify their contact information, and the sales rep can actively request any missing information and be uploaded all together into a single location, then the contract admin in reality didn't need to actually collect this like information and put it into an extra form. So this elimination of the billing form, it reduces drastically the amount of time waited when orders were coming in. So the other one that, as I say, we digitize as many forms as possible, and we kind of provide visibility to both ends, the customer and the employees, regardless of the team, by having a single web interface. So this is kind of just a strategic mapping. We align our processes that are part of the support renewal order. So we have the process quote, the process order, the create contract, and the invoice, and then we have the department strategies, which is support, monitor, and guide. Support basically, so we are able to provide support to the customers at any time when they need it. Monitor to make sure that proactively we are satisfying the customer needs, and then guide them, just kind of providing the education and training that they need. So this is kind of like the organization goals, and then through those organizations we kind of tackle the processes, and we were able to kind of see how you see here, like the support sales, how they ensure they are supporting the customer, the web portal, how the web portal actually contributes to the support process, by having a quick way of getting the orders through the whole order flow. We can actually provide support to the customers much quicker. During the order processing, we reduce the delay time for waiting for the teams to submit missing information. By having the web portal, that automatically all the information needed, it's allocated in the same place. The contract admin team, the same way, they ensured all the items are already gathered beforehand, so they don't have to go after and get contacts information to set up the contract. So then for the guide, and like here where we have the guide, which is the kind of what's the next, like the goals of the organization, the support organization. Then we have kind of educate the customer on what kind of educate the customer in terms of the when they go into the web portal, they are able to kind of provide what technical contacts are going to be leveraging the support contract, and then they can always like be as granular as they want depending on the product line, so they kind of understand that what is our intention in helping the customer. Let me see. Well, this is a to-be context diagram. So as Alex was mentioning on the first slide, he was saying here there was a like submission of code, send quote, submit PO, then send back code when there was changes. So if you go back and look at the context diagram and the assets, you can see flow of data in this process. So what we did, we kind of eliminated that. We kept the customer contract notification because that happens automatically from this renewal order process. But in here, kind of, we just have the submit PO because it's still the customer has to provide us with that request, and then update customer information, which is basically they don't have to submit any paper form to define the customer contact. It's basically they just go into the process of and just update when it's needed. The quote notification as well, there is no sending back of form. It's basically just it comes from the from this process automatically notified. So it's basically now the process, the manual papers that was part of this support renewal process and customer has been replaced through two notifications. This was already existing, and this replaced attachments of emails and that. And then here is basically just the same way. Customer just needs to update and submit it directly to the web portal. We kept the same way here. We have accounting and legal that remains the same. They create invoice and they request the contract terms. Also, we eliminated the no, you'll see it in level 1. The rest remain the same. Okay, so in this level 1, no, level 0. In the level 0, we see that we don't have, if you go back at the as-is process in level 0, you'll see that you would have the billing form submission for the process order. But we don't have that anymore. We kept here, as I said, the submit the PO and update customer information when it's needed. Notifications are kept. And this and the create contract, it's automatically notified to the contract admin team. They don't have to go back to the orders, the enterprise system or the booking system to get to check for orders. It automatically gets notified to the customer. And this.
Okay, so here we have the create contract to be process. And basically what happens is it starts when the order is actually created. We have an invoice notification, so we changed this from the as is, basically before the contract admin team was going ahead and actually checking the web portal for new orders. So now we have a notification set up, so they just go ahead and once they get the notification, they begin to continue creating the contract. So as you can see, they go ahead and create the contract. The PDF contract is actually created. So here there's a decision. You have a little break here because some contracts may require a special approval. So in that case, they'll be submitted to legal. So if they're submitted to legal, we have a task to submit it to legal, and then legal is going to make a determination as to whether or not to edit the contract. So if they edit the contract, then they're going to edit the terms. Obviously, that's going to take a longer path as if the contract didn't need any changes. If no changes are to be made, then it's just going to continue along with the need legal approval if that's a no, and the edit contract is obviously if it does need editing or if it does need review but not editing. So then we're going to jump ahead to the contract's then going to be sent to the support sales team, which is then going to email the contract typically to the customer if they request it specially, which is then entered into the support CRM. From the support CRM, it's going to generate a PIN and a way basically for the customer to go ahead and actually use the support that they're purchasing. That PIN is required when they go ahead and call support for issues with their systems. So this process, the create contract actually ends with the PIN email that the customer is going to get. Okay, from here, relatively simple process, but we wanted to model it anyway. This is the invoice to be. Basically starts with the same file from the prior that gets sent to the customer, and then from there the invoice is created and mailed to the customer, and this is the end of our actual process. This, as you can see, is the high level of the entire process. It shows each of the sub-processes. We have the process quote to be, the file that connects the two. Okay, then you have the process order to be sub-process, the order that connects those two, the create contract to be, the PIN, like I said earlier, that connects the create contract to be and invoice to be, and all that obviously gets transmitted to the customer. Okay, so if you remember before, we had some times from the as is. Now on the as is earlier, our times were 17 hours, roughly 17 hours, a little more than that. We've managed to reduce that down to 6, a little over 6. Basically by doing that, we've achieved the goals that we tried to. Our initial processing time was roughly about 5 days. We've lessened that to even less than 3 days, which is what our target was. Cost wasn't such an issue for us, but we did cut costs to more than half. It was about $93 before, and now it's $42. This is just a little more in-depth into each individual case as far as the times taken for each of the different cases and processes, and this is the costs for each of the different ones. Obviously, the ones on the prior slide are averages. So here's what we actually did in order to achieve these numbers. Okay, basically, our quoting system before was done through emailing quotes back and forth between customers. We managed to eliminate that process altogether by creating a centrally located quote in the web portal. This makes it easier for customers to access it. Any changes are made or restored in there, which then makes it easier for order processing later because all the information is already added into the web portal without them needing to go and manually and add it. Okay? The quote then serves also as the point of reference for the billing terms. And what that means is, earlier in the process we had to create billing form, and that the purpose of that was basically for billing, but it created issues as far as inconsistencies in data and an additional process that wasn't really needed. So by creating the quote with now this extra information, we have a single point of information, and like I said, it's centrally located, it's already within our system, making it easier to access for processing later. Then we have the customer information form. We've also managed to include this in the web portal, which obviously needs to be adjusted to take on these changes for the customer to be to submit this. So they're going to go ahead and enter this information themselves, so there's no way that we need to go later on and retrieve that information later from other systems in the event something is missing. Okay, we've also managed to rid all of our paper processes. We've done this by a lot of times customers send purchase orders in via fax, and fax obviously not the best of quality. It's a slower process. It's older, so we managed to integrate into the web portal a way for the customer to actually submit the purchase order in addition to a fax to email system. So this way, if a customer doesn't have the ability to create digital purchase orders, they can go ahead and fax it in just as they would, but our fax to email system is going to immediately convert that into an email and send it to support sales so that they can process further. Okay, and then lastly, like I said, the billing form process has been removed basically to alleviate that inconsistency of data in addition to that additional bottleneck. And that concludes our presentation. Thank you. Alex.